right. Hello. Give me a moment here to just, figure out the technical side of things. I'm just going to actually turn these over top lights down a bit. Give me a moment. Okay. So we are just before 7:30 here. We're going to let everybody get themselves in and get comfy. I've already posted in the side chat bar, so I am going to repost there. So those of you who potentially do not see that can see that and know where you actually want to post any of your questions when we get to that period of time where I'm going to open it up for questions. And if you can do me a favor, this helps me to know that you can see me and that you can hear me. If you can post there for me, saying hello, that would be fantastic. That means that you heard instruction. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Brenda, Cecile, Jody, Jill, Nana, Anishka from London. Awesome. Linda, Amy, amazing. Terry, Kim, Athena, awesome. Okay, so as everyone is coming in, I'll just kind of open up here with a little bit of housekeeping. Hi, Susan. This is on the chat bar where we want to do any level of engagement. So any questions that you have when I get to that point where I'll be taking questions. So I know at the bottom here, you'll see something that allows you to enter into a Q&A box or to raise your hand. To keep things really simple and to make sure that I don't miss anything that's being posted, we're just going to use this chat bar that is on the side. Create a little bit of simplicity. So as you are waiting for us to get going, you want to have something to drink, water, tea, something like that. If you have wine in your glass and you're enjoying that tonight, that is fine. That's all good for you. But as you go through and learn a little bit more about the Hormone Project, that may not be your jam anymore. That may not be the thing you do at night, or at least not every night of the week. So full disclosure, as we are getting into this talk tonight, you registered for this, you signed up for it, you know that I'm going to be talking about the Hormone Project, that I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes. Actually, this is the very first time. So if you follow me on Instagram, I was saying yesterday, I don't do a lot of webinars about the Hormone Project. I haven't done one in almost a year, but I've changed quite a bit about the way that I facilitate the program, some of the content that's in the program, and the way that we actually onboard and bring women into the program. So I'm going to go into a little bit of that tonight. I'm also going to help you walk away tonight really understanding if this is something that is for you and if it is not for you. There's a lot of practitioners in my industry, a lot that are doing things with women's health and women's hormones. A lot of different variety in terms of the programs, the content, the offering, all of that. And I'm going to talk to you tonight about what makes myself and my team a little bit different and why I don't do it where I just open the cart and let anybody come in and just let anybody go on and purchase and do a registration. Why I do an application process, because there's a lot that goes into working with women, especially when you're running functional tests on them, when you're reviewing blood work, and when you are really trying to help them get to the root cause or peel back some of those top layers of things that are going on. It's also very challenging for somebody who's never done any level of work before, right? So if nobody has ever talked to them about removing certain things or adding certain things in, and this is all very new, and terms and things I talk about tonight sound very overwhelming, I don't want to overwhelm you. So the Hormone Project may not be the best first step. So I'll talk to you about some different things that you can do as your first steps, some different options, some different opportunities. I will always be very honest, very open, very genuine in my conversations with you. Again, if I wasn't, it would just be a frenzy, and we would just let whoever come into these programs. And there's a reason I've built my company on the legs that it stands on today in the way that I have done it. New to your program, but I love your content. Can't wait to become part of Synced in the Hormone Project. Hi, Brooke. Awesome. Yeah. So if there's questions about Synced, I may answer them towards the end tonight, but I'm going to try to keep this more focused on the Hormone Project. But Synced is really like a jumping off point for a lot of women. It's definitely for those of you who are struggling in terms of what's going on with your cycle. If you are struggling with how your body is responding to perimenopause and menopause, you are really struggling in terms of how to move your body, how to exercise, and create that rhythm, that internal alignment with your system, to have that really sweet ebb and flow as a woman and to trust your body again. That's a really good jumping off point. So we'll chat a little bit about that, but we're 7:34 now. So I'm going to get going into this. And so I'm going to take you through a little bit of info tonight, and then I am going to actually introduce you, and I'm going to show you the membership site. And I'm not going to be showing you our actual protocols because that would be crazy. And here's the reason it would be crazy, not just because this is a business and you have to pay to come into the program, but I think it's irresponsible when people give too much information to the general public without ever having done a consultation, without ever having an understanding of your health background, without ever understanding what your current struggles are. Are you taking medication? Are you on certain supplements? Do you have any sensitivities? What does your blood work say? What is your chemistry? So, on Instagram, every single day, people are messaging me and saying, here's my story, here are my symptoms, this is what I have going on. So do you have any suggestions? And I will always respond in the same way with, like, that would require consultation. It would be irresponsible of me to give you this laundry list of either things to go and purchase supplement wise, herbs, botanicals, or even, recommendations on lifestyle pieces when I don't know you. And so that's the whole thing, is that I have created the Hormone Project, out of years. I mean, I've been doing this. I'm in my 24th year in practice of working with human beings, the last 13 being dedicated specifically to working with women only. And I am, for those of you who are maybe popping on tonight, you don't even know who I am, you don't know what I do. My name is Jen Pike. I'm a functional diagnostic nutritionist. I'm also a medical exercise specialist and many other things. What I am not is someone who creates meal plans. And I say that in a very loving way, because when you hear the term nutritionist, that's what so many people think, is that's what we do. And there are many who do that. It is what I did for many, many years in the beginning. But my background before doing any of this is in human anatomy, kin, biomechanics, and physiology. So I'm a geek. I am a nerd. I love the human body. And I specifically love working with women on their health, on their hormones, on inflammation, on the gaps. That is what I do as a practitioner, is I really go in and help a woman by triaging what is happening in her system. Majority of the women who come into my courses, my programs, consultations with me, I am not the first stop for them. They have worked typically with multiple practitioners. They've done different programs, whether it's DIY programs where it's something they follow on their own and then kind of put the pieces together, or they've worked with other practitioners in another capacity where they're following a set protocol. And so usually when they get to me, they have years of struggle. They have, a list on the left that is saying, I've tried this, I've tried that, I've done this test, I've had, this procedure done, all of that. And here I am on the right. I'm not feeling much different. I might have felt better for a period of time, but now things are resurfacing. I'm at a different phase and stage in my life. And so I work with women. I work with teens who are struggling with acne, with irregular menstrual cycles, with PCOS, with amenorrhea. I work with women in their 20s who are struggling with those issues, severe PMS, can't lose weight, are having fertility issues. I work with women all throughout their 30s with fertility issues, women who are suffering from post-birth control pill syndrome. I work with a ton of women. I'd say probably 70% of my practice are women who are struggling with thyroid illness, whether it is an underactive thyroid, an overactive thyroid, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune condition, women whose adrenals are not communicating and functioning in an optimal manner. I work with a load of women who are moving through perimenopause, who are menopausal and beyond. So when someone says to me, well, what's your target demographic? Well, I work with women. Like, if you are a woman or identify as a woman, that is who I work with. And it really just depends on the spectrum of what it is that you are going through. I have women that regularly come into my Hormone Project who are in their mid to late 60s, early 70s, who were never supported through menopause or their postmenopausal years, who now have autoimmune conditions and are really suffering, and they are committed to living a really thriving life. So there's no, there's no said range. I don't only work with just this capacity. What I will say is that I do not I do not market myself as being like a weight loss expert. My experience in working with women is that the weight will come off when we get your body in balance, when we heal your gut, when we heal your digestive system, when we eliminate the inflammation, the pain, the bloating, the gas, the constipation, or the diarrhea, or the uncertainty that is going on a gut level. That's really where the work begins. And then the layers upon that, the bonuses that happen is that your body will start to release the weight. Your joints won't ache and hurt as much. Your sleep improves. Your skin starts to improve. Your brain fog starts to dissipate. And then we move ourselves upstream and we support the liver and your detoxification systems and your detoxification phases. And I'll talk a little deeper about that tonight. We support your adrenals and your thyroid and your health overall. And when I say health overall, I even mean your mental health. So the difference too of why I don't give a lot of very specific recommendations when people reach out on Instagram or Facebook or even an email is that I firmly believe that when we're working holistically with a woman, with her body and mind, we have to learn. I have to learn and understand more about this woman. The holistic side of this is not just about eating gluten-free or dairy-free, kale and salad. The holistic side is taking in all of you, the whole of you, who you are, what you do, what makes you happy, what stresses you out, how your body responds to that. What is your sleep like? What is your environment like? What is your history? What is your current? And what are your hopes for your future? It is pulling all the dimensions, all the limbs, the bits and pieces of you together. That is what I see. So when I am working with a woman inside the Hormone Project is a group based program in some capacities, and it is one on one coaching in some capacities. So let me break this down for you. Previously, how I used to run this program for the last almost 5 years was it was 10 weeks long. I took in a small group of women. I did a launch about 3 or 4 times a year, and you would get 2 consultations with me. We would do an initial consultation, and then we would do another consultation about halfway through. And I would review your blood work. There was no Dutch at this time. Okay. So this is going way back. And in those 10 weeks, we had a weekly class every single week, and I took you through the learning of your body. Now, why did I create this program? First of all, I created it because I wanted to have something that existed to help my girlfriends, to help my sisters, to help my mother, to help my daughter, who was much younger and is now a teen. There was no educational forum for women beyond working with a nutritionist, for women beyond the books that were in the store. And there is something very different about when you read information versus when you are taught it in this capacity. I'm not interested in telling someone what to do. The reason that we jump from program to program and meal plan to supplements to this or that is because we are told to do something, we read to do something, we be the good student and we do the thing, but we don't understand why we're doing what we've been asked to do. How many of you, and this is a real question, so I'm going to look for a response, how many of you have gone to an appointment with a practitioner in whatever capacity it is? It's been a great appointment. You feel like you've, learned some different things. You're starting to understand about what's going on with your body. You're really excited in the moment. And then you leave the appointment and you drive away. And as you're driving away, you start to forget why they asked you to do certain things. You start to forget how to take the things that you've been given. You start to forget the reason that she or he wanted you to eat more of this, but a little bit less of that. You start to, like, literally, I always describe it, it's like the back of your head opens up, and as you're driving, it's like all the information is gone. And now you get home, and yeah, a bunch of you are saying yes. You get home and you have like all your supplements and your things on the counter, and you're like, I don't, and you're trying to not only explain to someone else and your family or your life and yourself, but you're like, I don't remember why. And and then you either have to wait to your next appointment or you have to start to do some of the work on your own. I was having this same frustration as a nutritionist at the time who had been practicing for almost 20 years, when my clients would leave their sessions and we'd have this amazing session in person. They would go, and then to try to get them for a follow-up or try to get them to continue what they were doing, it was always the same thing. Oh, I forgot. And I was like, oh my goodness. And that's when I made the big decision to go online because could record the sessions. And that was huge. Being able to record sessions with clients was a game changer because not only did you get to have the experience like this. So imagine we're doing your consult. I'm seeing you, you're seeing me, we're fully engaging and imagine there was like a year like 2020 when all we did was live on Zoom. Could you imagine what that would be like? That's been my practice. I've had a virtual practice for 5 years. So when Zoom hit, I was like, I'm there. I fully get it, right? I might not even be wearing pants underneath here, folks. You don't know because in Zoom world, you don't need to know those things. We only need to look good from here up. And so it completely changed my practice when I could have this amazing consultation with a woman, and 24 hours later, she could get a recording of that and she could listen to it and she could have her pen and her paper and she could pause it and she could make notes and she could write questions and she could retain the information and she could watch it as many times as she needed to. And if there was someone in her life, her partner, her child, her coworker, whomever, that did not understand what she was trying to communicate, she could also play that back for them to be like, here, do you hear? Do you understand what's going on in my body now? Why I have to do these things and not these things? Completely transformed the changes that these women were having in my practice. And then what I started to find is I was having the same conversations with different women all the time. And I was like, there has got to be a more efficient way of doing this. They're all asking me the same questions. They all have very similar struggles, and they need more information. So I created an educational program. The Hormone Project is literally, ladies, it is going back to school for your female body. That is all you learn with me. We don't talk about men. We don't talk about your dogs. We don't talk about anything other than I walk you through all of the systems in your female body: digestion, reproductive, your inflammatory responses, your liver, your kidneys, your gallbladder. We talk ovaries, adrenals, thyroid, hypothalamus, pituitary glands, stress responses, everything about your skin, your respiratory, your lymphatic system, cardiovascular, circulatory, hormones galore. Like literally, I break it down so that it's like, here's what I always say to people. Here we have been given the best gift of life, a human body, okay? It is a brilliant yet complicated gift that we have all been blessed with. And yet none of us were ever given the instructions manual on how to actually function in this body optimally, how to understand when something goes on, when you literally have like a check engine light that is happening in your body. And we have grown up in this way where we always have to turn to someone else. We're always asking for permission, for explanation, for solution, and not believing that our own bodies are holding much of this wisdom. And as women, we have so much wisdom. I mean, our menstrual cycles that we have been taught to feel shame around, to be embarrassed about, to, hate and despise and just curse it every time it comes around, is literally a report card from your body every single month that is giving you huge indication as to how well you are doing. It is actually the fifth vital sign as a woman for your body. It is also a superpower. It is literally a superpower that we have as women. And even women who no longer menstruate and who are menopausal, you still have these beautiful cyclical rhythms that are happening in your body. And so in the Hormone Project, I am teaching you all of these things. In your course content, which I'll show you when we go to the actual website, you have 10 core modules that I teach you and take you through. You have an entire guidebook. Then every single week when you come into the Hormone Project, you are with myself and our team naturopathic physician, Dr. Laura Anderson, in a group coaching call. Every single week this is live and you're with us for an hour. And so we have topics, and I'll show you what our entire schedule is that we've already laid out from now until April. We know ahead of time what we need to educate these women on, what it is that we're talking about. We leave ample time for Q&A as well too. So you have your core curriculum. And if you can think about that in the way of like, your kids, there's the curriculum that's set out, they go to school, they have their notebooks. This is like the information that they have to learn. But how many of you as parents, when you are seeing what your kids are learning, are ever thinking in the back of your head, why aren't they being taught this? Why aren't they being taught this life skill? Why aren't they being taught this information? Where's the opportunity for them to, actually dig deep and to go into these Q&A periods and ask some of the bigger questions? Where's this opportunity for them to think the things that they are feeling out loud and then actually have a mentor and have a teacher, have somebody who's educated in these areas, or have multiple people who are, actually be able to respond and teach them the things where they're going to be able to carry this forward, not just today, tomorrow, next week, next month, for the rest of their life. That is what we do inside this hormone project. It's so hard to convey this on like an Instagram story because I would go on forever. I'm so passionate about this because this is the school program that doesn't exist. And here's the thing, if you want to go back to school and become a practitioner, there's lots of programs you can go and do. I will tell you, having gone to school, I hold 7 different degrees, diplomas, and certifications underneath me. 7 that are just in health and wellness. I'm not even talking about my fitness ones. Okay. That's like a gabillion. None of them, none of them, and I am telling you in the health and wellness, are taking you through the female hormonal reproductive system as intimately as what you are learning inside of this program. None of them. There are doctors who are offering mentorship programs. There's one in particular, a woman who runs one. It's fantastic. It is very expensive, and it is one that women are only going to take if they're going to be a practitioner. So then what happens to the general public? What happens to the women who can no longer feel the way that they're feeling, who want to know more about their own health and their body, who want to be able to teach it to their girls, to their daughters, their nieces, who also want to be able to instill this in their sons? I am a mother of 2 children. I have a boy and a girl. I am just as passionately teaching my son about these concepts as I am my daughter, for various reasons. And if you've been following me a long time, you know that, I believe that the more just the population as a whole can understand about not just women's bodies, but our bodies in general, we will all vibrate on a very different energetic level. We will start to understand what true health means, not just hormonally and digestively, but also our immune system, our body as a whole, what resiliency means, right? Like, you cannot find your health at the bottom of a salad bowl. You cannot find your health in a multivitamin bottle. And that's really kind of honestly the nonsense that we're being taught, is that if you just eat kind of well and you take your supplements, like, you're fine. You can do the 80-20 rule. And I'm telling you, I work with a lot of people who are suffering, and I am seeing health decline in the general population in a really big way. I am working with women where literally, like, my Kleenex box sits close by because they're in tears, I'm in tears when they start to describe how long they have been feeling this way, what is going on, how many appointments they've gone to with doctors. I had a call with a woman today who has just started the Hormone Project, actually, who has, she thought it was debilitating PMS. It's actually PMDD. What is going on in her body, has gone to 3 different gynecologists, has had umpteen, you know, internal ultrasounds, external ultrasounds, all of these different things happening and going on. Very invasive procedures. And within, a half an hour of speaking, the things that we were talking about, the questions I was asking her, I pulled up her blood work on the screen like this. I shared it with her. I took her through, I explained different aspects to her. I asked her, has anybody ever talked to you about these markers being high or about this one? We looked back through 3 years of blood work and have watched these markers move. No one, not a single person in all of these years has done that, because these doctors don't have the time. And listen to me, this is one of those things where people will like slam doctors left, right, and center. You have to understand that's an industry, it's a business, they're trained a certain way. They only have X amount of minutes, literally minutes with each patient before the next one is being brought into their office. And it's just a different system. If you truly want to heal your body, if you truly want to feel seen and heard, and like someone is understanding what you are explaining to them, you will have to pay out of pocket for that. This whole notion, that we have, like, I live in Canada, okay, where we have something called OHIP, where we have a lot of our healthcare is, we say it's free, it's not. We pay taxes out the wazoo for this. But because of that, we believe that everything should be covered and that we shouldn't have to dip into our pockets for it. And I'm sorry, and this might be like spoiler alert, and I may not be your friend anymore after this, but if you truly want to get healthy and you're really struggling, you are going to have to be prepared to put yourself in the seat of being the CEO of your health. You're going to have to become that chief officer, and you are going to have to invest in order to get to the answers so that you can stop all the years of struggle. You can understand what's needed and necessary for your body and the things you don't need to do. The amount of things that women come into my practice that they are taking supplement wise, that they are eating, doing all of this, where I'm like, okay, we're going to stop that. We're going to shelf that. You do not need to be doing that right now. Or the other end of the spectrum, where I have women who come in and they're terrified of doing something wrong. So they overcompensate. They try to jump ahead in the program. They try and do everything perfectly. They are literally the bottleneck to their body healing because they're trying to be so perfect in their approach, perfect in the meal plan, perfect in the supplements. And I will be the first one literally to call her on it and be like, I need you to stop. I need you to slow down by 10. I am literally going to walk you through this one piece at a time. You are going to continue to interfere with your body's state of health, physically, mentally, and emotionally. If you have convinced yourself that in order to heal, you have to have your foot on the gas pedal and be pumping it nonstop, it is actually the opposite of that. It is the opposite. So now instead of 10 weeks with women, you come in for 4 months. 4 months is how long you are being supported by myself, by Dr. Laura Anderson. I have an entire team of women. I have a full-time Facebook manager, Ashley, that's in there as well too. The other women, you are literally met by this group of cheerleaders. You get 3 sessions with us now. You have a Dutch test that's included. A Dutch test is a dried urinary test for comprehensive hormones. And it really is the Cadillac test for testing your hormones. It will not show you what blood shows you. And so I do still like blood work. It is important when we want to see certain serum levels, but when we're talking about hormones, blood will never be able to show you how you metabolize your hormones, which means how do you break them down? You see, the problem is for a lot of women, their production of hormones might not be the issue at all. So if you go and get blood work done and all they're testing is your estradiol, which is one of 3 estrogens, ladies, and it's produced by your ovaries, and they test your testosterone and they test your progesterone. First of all, if you're not getting it tested on the right day of your cycle, your progesterone results, like, you might as well just throw them out because they won't be valid. You have to test either typically 5 to 7 days after you've ovulated or 5 to 7 days before that period is coming on. If you don't have a menstrual cycle, then you can test any day of the month. However, if you're a woman who has had a hysterectomy, but you still have ovaries, there's specific times that you need to be tested as well too. So testing timing, the date of when you're doing it, very important, but you will never see how you break these hormones down. So like I said, you could have totally normal ranges, but your metabolites may not be moving down the healthiest pathway. You could be moving things down a more proliferative pathway, which is going to impact your breast health. You could be moving things down more of a carcinogenic pathway, which increases your risk and vulnerability of estrogen dominant cancers in your body. You could be moving things down a more destructive pathway for your DNA, which will impact things like, you impact your DNA, you impact the entire health of your body. But in women, what do we see show up? Higher incidence of autoimmune conditions, higher incidence of Parkinson's, of dementia, of Alzheimer's, of MS. There are big things, and these tests can pick up on so many markers. We can see whether or not your body is methylating. Does your body have the ability to bind, to neutralize, to actually ship things out that need to be showing up in your sweat, in your urine, and in your poop? We really, truly need to understand more about our bodies. This will give us also huge insight into what's happening with your adrenals. How well are you producing cortisol? How much cortisol are you producing? How does your body metabolize and use your cortisol in a 24-hour period? What's going on with your androgens? Do you have cystic acne, hair loss on your head, hair growth on your chin, hair growth on your nipples, hair growth in other areas, oily scalp, oily skin, all these different issues because your androgens are through the roof, or because you're moving majority of your testosterone? down a more potent 5-alpha pathway. These tests show us this. And we literally pull everything up and walk you through and record it. Every single time we take you through test results, we record the explanation because you will not be able to absorb what we're telling you. This thing happens when you are learning about your health, where in the moment you're like, yeah, I got it, I got it, I got it. And then you get out of a session, you're like, I do not got it. I totally forget. It's like what we talked about, right? The drive away syndrome. That happens. So now you get these test results, you get the copy of the results, you then get the copy of the session taking you through your results. Do you see what's happening here? Like what I'm doing for you? We're stacking and building you a health profile, and we're building a benchmark. So now anytime anything starts to feel like it's going sideways in your body, symptom wise, physically, mentally, and emotionally, whatever it may be, you are going to be able to come back to your health profile, right? Noelle's going to have a profile. Tanya's going to have a health profile. Joanne's going to have a health profile, and it's going to all be yours. So just how we always will teach you, keep all of your paperwork. I mean, blood work, now most of it you're going to get online. We're going to teach you to create your own folder. You put everything in there. My practice is virtual and online, and I have a virtual clinic. So in our clinic, we upload all your files. You get lifetime access as well to everything in the Hormone Project, all of your course content, your recordings, everything. Everything that you sign up for and you receive, which you'll see on the membership site, you get lifetime access to that, okay? When you finish at the end of the 4 months, when you're in the active group, then we move you into our alumni group, okay? So we have hundreds of women that are in that alumni group where you can still ask questions. And I'll talk about like what would come after the program when we get there. But I just really want you to understand this concept of what is the point in getting a test done if A, you're not being taken through the test so you understand it. B, if you don't comprehend what you're being explained to in the test. And thirdly, if you don't have the ability to pull this information forward. You see, here's the thing with testing. You're going to have to get retested. For most women, when you're running something like a Dutch test, which we drop ship you, I send it to your home, you take this at home. It's peeing. It's like the easiest test. You will actually, what the heck was I just saying on that? Oh, when you do this test, so many things, so many tabs open and there's a brain up here. When you do this test, you typically are going to need to retest. I like women to do it about every 9 to 12 months, but when I work with women where the test comes back and there are a lot of red flags, there is a lot of vulnerability and things going on that we need to work on, I'm most likely going to retest her in about 4 to 6 months. We need to see if what we are doing is starting to shift these biomarkers in your body. Okay. Some of it is going to be symptom based, but some of it we have to actually test the serum. Same thing in blood work, you might have to redo. Some women who come into the program have already had a Dutch test done or they've had it done really recently. So instead, what I might do is run a GI map test on them. I might run a poop test, a stool test, which again, we send to you. You do it home on your own. And this helps us to understand, do you truly have leaky gut syndrome? Do you have viruses? Do you have candida, yeast, parasites, worms, H. pylori? Do you have salmonella, E. coli? Do you have too much positive bacteria, which can cause extreme gas and bloating, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth? Do you have opportunistic bacteria? It will show us so much. And so the beautiful thing with being a functional diagnostic nutritionist is I have at my fingertips access to really being able to customize things for women and offer the things that I think are needed for them. The other thing that we do for you is help you to actually build out a holistic team for yourself. So it's really important. Gone are the days where you can have one person that you work with. So we will talk and teach to you about different body care practitioners. You know, every woman's different. Some we might talk to about bioidentical hormones. Some we might be talking to about acupuncture, doing lymphatic drainage, osteopathy, different things like that. What's really important to understand is that you're going to come away with that whole body picture. The other thing is that I also have a series of master classes that are taught in the program by many of my colleagues. So everything from listening to functional medicine practitioners to energy workers to understanding the cognitive behavior behind why we choose to do some of the things that we do, fascial work, like you name it, there's so much that goes on in there. Yes, and the Dutch test does. I'm seeing some of you post this here on the side. It answers so much more. So what I do is I look at the blood work, I look at the Dutch, I lie them over top of one another. Now, sometimes there might be other testing that is done as well, but you don't need to run every single test up front. And here is the number one reason why. You cannot change everything at once. You can't be making 12 changes at one time. Some women can't even be making 3 changes at one time. And so you are learning in the group capacity, you're being mentored in a one-on-one capacity by myself and by Laura Anderson. So the other important thing to understand is that naturopathic physicians, they are governed provincially. So for those of you who are in Ontario, Laura would be an ND within our program. For those of you who are outside of Ontario, Canada, she is our head health coach within. So it's also important to understand some of those different things. We walk you through and tell you the exact blood test to be requesting, how you can approach your doctor about that. We give you a full list as well too about what to be asking for. We give you a sample script on how you can be asking for that. And then we will also coach and walk you through. Oftentimes the hardest ones for women to get is a full thyroid panel. And so what I always say to people is go through your family doctor and get the hematology report that you can get the full CBC, the panel that they will, run through your insurance or run through your OHIP. And then if we need to do additional work, that is where we will connect you with a naturopath or a functional medicine doctor. And you will have to pay for a consult for them to get that additional blood work. But there are so many ways to circumvent the system. We need to get your results. When we are working with women who have every sign and symptom of an autoimmune condition with their thyroid, every sign and symptom, and yet the doctor will only run TSH, and that woman gets told over and over again, your thyroid's fine. You're fine. You sound a little stressed. You should probably take a holiday. You have kids. Of course you're stressed. You work. Oh, definitely you're going to be stressed. Oh, it's COVID. Yeah, you're stressed. No, F that. There are reasons. I am telling you, never stop listening to your body. When your body is giving a clue, giving an indication that something is off, you need to listen to yourself. And if your current practitioner won't listen and dig deeper, you go and find another one. You go and find another one. Okay. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just minimize this for a minute here because I'm going to bring up and share my screen with all of you in a moment. But before I do that, I just want to be really clear on this because number one, I am not offended if as I am going through this next part, you're like, this is not for me, and you scoot off. Totally cool. Not offended at all. Because here's the thing, ladies, the Hormone Project is not for everyone. So I'm going to talk to you about who this is for and who this is not for. So who this is for is the woman who is fed up. She is like, I am done. I am done feeling like garbage. I'm done being told that I'm fine and that everything is normal when I do not feel fine and nothing feels normal in my body. I'm done settling for just feeling okay. I want to feel amazing. I want to sleep again. I want to have sex again. I want to desire to have sex again. I want to feel like my body is my own. I want to move through my period without feeling like I'm losing days out of my life every single month. I want my luteal phase, that premenstrual phase as I'm going into my period, to not feel so awful. I don't want to be snapping and yelling at everyone. I don't want to have all these food cravings. I'm so sick and tired of every time I eat, I'm burping or I'm bloated or I have reflux or I'm not pooping or everything's going through me at the other end. I am tired of having a shelf full of supplements, not understanding what half of them do, not knowing when to take them or how to take them. I need to have direction. I need to have a protocol. I need somebody to help me understand what's going on in my body and walk me through this. This is also for the woman who is ready to level up because here's the thing. I cannot fix you. I cannot do this for you. I can't move in with you. I get the request all the time. I really can't do that now in 2020. I can't do it for you. I can't make you eat the food. I can't make you get up and move your body. I cannot close your eyeballs and get you to go to sleep at night instead of spending more time on this thing or more time on the TV. But what I can do is be a loving, ass kicking support system for you. And I will always be, I think you know this if you've followed me, I have a very no BS approach. And in that same token, I will probably cry with you through the majority of your session if you are in tears, because I do see you and I do feel you. And there is this, I am blessed to have the career that I have and get to do the work that I do, because every woman that I work with is not only a mirror, but is a teacher for me. And she teaches me something new every single time that I connect with her, the new woman who's coming into the program. And this is my purpose. Okay. This is not just my passion project. This is my purpose. This is the gift I was given, is to educate women in a higher level way. And my goal is that when you come through this, you don't need me for much longer. That is my goal. If you need me forever and ever and ever and ever, maybe it's just because you like me and we're friends now and you just want to hang out and spend time. But if you need me in that way where you feel like you haven't learned it, then we've done a shitty job. That's not my goal. My goal is to be able to give you this strong foundation, and that you are going to continue to build upon that. Now, who is this not for? This is not for the woman who, and I'll tell you, this is a clue for me. When somebody applies or says to me, oh, I've done every program. I've done every program. I've seen all the, I've yet to work with a good practitioner. And they're like telling me they've worked with umpteen practitioners. And I'm like, really? Every single practitioner wasn't good, and you've done everything? There are program hoppers. They jump from program to program. They have no problem spending all the money. Like when they tell me everything they've done, I'm like, you have spent so much money and you've not made any changes and you haven't felt any difference. If I'm going to say yes to you, you need to promise me like you're going to jump off that train right freaking now. Like it ends here. That's not okay. Think of all the resources. Think of where we could be reallocating those funds. And we talk about that kind of stuff too. We talk about finances. We talk about all of that in this, because these are all the things that are actually irritating you. I don't believe that we don't know how to eat. I actually don't believe that. I believe we understand that, you know, a triple burger with bacon and French fries and a Diet Coke is not as healthy as if we were to have some, you know, grilled chicken and some roasted vegetables in a salad. I do not believe that we don't know the difference between those things. What we are struggling with is that we are being pulled in so many different directions. And so the thing that becomes the easiest is the thing that we're just going to gravitate to. Right. And so for the woman who is looking for me to do this for her, like if you think if I sign up with Jen, she's going to just tell me what to do. And then because she tells me what to do, I'm going to be fixed. I'll sign up for this. And through osmosis, the program is going to fix me. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. You have to take some ownership in this. Here's the difference. I am not going to tell you to do anything. I am going to mentor you. I am going to teach you. I'm going to empower you. That is the difference. That is the difference. Think about this. You've all had those teachers in your lives where you're like, oh God, that teacher, like that was not a good teacher. Your kids come home and say that about their teachers as well too, right? And then you've had this teacher, or you've had a coach, or you've had somebody in your life where you're like, they leave an impression, they leave an imprint. I want to leave an imprint on you so that when you walk out of my programs, you are like, I can't believe we haven't been learning this since, you know, we were 9 years old as young girls. I can't believe I've moved through my whole life and not known this. I can't believe to stand on the rooftops and shout and become an ambassador and tell and teach more women about this, that they know and understand they don't have to suffer too. This also is not for you if you aren't going to play full out. And that doesn't mean being perfect, because remember what I said at the beginning, I don't want you to be perfect. If your goal is to come in and be like, I'm going to do this balls to the wall or ovaries to the wall, I'm going to slow you right down, because that's not the approach. But don't sign up if you're not going to show up. Come into the coaching calls, come into the group, message me on Practice Better and ask me questions, engage with the other people, learn. You will only learn You know, what is it? It's like repetition equals retention. You have to be consistent. You've got to show up. And, you know, every single round, there are people that, you know, for sure, like they're in, they're out there. Life happens, things happen. This is why I give you lifetime access. I give you lifetime access so that you always have this to come back to. Okay. So, is that like clear on who it's for and who it's not for? Do you have any clarifying questions in terms of that? Let me know if that's too general. I also need a sip of tea because my throat is dry. And it's for the woman who's so fucking excited to do this kind of work. I want to work with women who can feel a roar inside their body that is like building. They are like so ready to rise up and do this work. That is the woman I want to work with. I want to be like, we might cry in the first session, and then I want to be fist pumping and high fiving you through the screen because you're so damn excited about this. And I'll tell you, I'm working on something behind the scenes right now for practitioners who are maybe not needing the testing and to do all of that, but want to learn the information because it has to change. This paradigm has to change. More people need to be educated on this information. Awesome. Good, good, good. Okay, woohoo. Let's go. Where were you when I was in high school? Jana, you know where I was in high school teaching my high school girlfriends this when we were in grade 10? I kid you not. And I'm still friends with my high school girlfriends, and they laugh to this day because they're like, we made fun of you so much because you literally in health class in grade 10, I can vividly remember this. I went to Newmarket High School at Newmarket High. It's where I met my husband. I'm still friends with all my girlfriends. And I'd be like, we would come in after gym class and we would learn health. And you would be like, okay, just so you know what we just learned, that's not the whole truth. This is what you need to know. Because I've literally been learning this information from the youngest age. I was reading about taking charge of your fertility and women's wisdom and women's bodies when I was 16 and 17 years old. Right? Like, I'm in it. I am in it. There is nothing else that I'm teaching and doing other these concepts. Yes, Christian Northrup, that is it. That is it. Okay, I'm going to show you the behind the scenes. Okay, so give me a moment here because I want to open this up. And then I am going to screen share. Okay, can you all see this? If you can just say yes, that would be amazing. My little toolbar go here. Let me open my chat. Okay, sweet. All right. Okay, thank you, ladies. Okay, so let me just close. Hold on. Okay, so when you come into the Hormone Project, you are going to be connected with a couple of women on my team, Vanessa, who's our director of programs, and Nikki. Nikki is our client concierge inside the Hormone Project. Any issues with booking your initial consult, any back-end stuff, practice better, any of that, you literally just need to reach out to us. And within 24 hours, we are going to connect you with somebody on the team to make sure that you understand how to move through. Because I understand the tech side of things, like, believe it or not, I am not a techie person. And so I can get overwhelmed by that as well. So we try to make this as simplified as possible. So when you come into this, this is your member dashboard. This is your membership site. You create your own unique login, again, that you have for life in order to be able to get into this. I have a welcome video where verbally like this, I am walking you through step by step. And I will even say to you, like, pull out a piece of paper right now. I also recommend for women, you don't have to print off any of the info that's on here. You can completely keep it digital, but I am a pen to paper kind of girl. So I just literally I don't buy expensive journals and stuff now. I like literally spend 97 cents on these kinds of things and just put pen to paper and write. And that's what I would recommend that you do as well. So I walk you through all of this. Then we take you through everything you're going to find. So you're going to get all your digital resources. You get a full library of all three of my books, my 2 cookbooks, and my Canadian bestseller, The Simplicity Project. You're getting, honestly, like hundreds and hundreds of recipes outside of just what's in your protocols as well, too. You get access to our private Facebook group. We have the entire group coaching call schedule, which I'll show you in a moment. All of your class modules, everything that you need here. So when you first come in, you sign the waiver and disclaimer. That is really important, and we put that right up front for you. Then you have your call schedule. So you'll see here like in the rest of November, Monday night, actually tonight, Laura is teaching our Hormone Project ladies all about their immune system, how to support for themselves and for their family, which is very important right now. Next week, I'm teaching the women in the program all about stress-reduced fat loss approaches. In December, we're learning about melatonin and sleep cycles, breast tenderness, how to handle the holidays. We take only a 1-week break the entire year, a 1-week break for the holidays where we don't have that group coaching call that is happening. And then in January, they're going to be learning about moon cycles, time and energy management, the sugar impact, the psychospiritual connection to our symptoms, why we need to have healthy cholesterol. So many different things. And so we already have this entire schedule all the way through until April. And this is additional on top of their regular class modules that they have and their master classes. There is no shortage of information. If anything, there is probably too much information. Not going to lie. I am an over giver. You will learn that about me when you come into our programs. It's hard for me to not give it all away. I'm not going to lie, because I genuinely want to help people. And so we have our whole group coaching schedule. Everything is recorded. If you can't make the live coaching calls because it doesn't fit in your time slot, then we record it, we post in the group. So you have access to be able to go back and to listen. Before the group coaching calls, we also post for you to put any of your questions that you have so we can answer those questions live for you in that class. You start the program off with a 14-day digestive reset. We give you a checklist to move through. This is to prime your body before you actually get into the core elements of the program. So this is really like a cleanup. We give you a 2-week-long meal plan to be following, talk to you about some of the different supplements that you might want to consider if you don't have them already. I talk about brands, those different types of things. And then we also give you your downloadable list for your blood work to be able to ask for. Now, every single protocol that we have 4 protocols. So we work on getting the gut prepared. Then we spend a few weeks working on your liver and your eliminatory pathways. If you are very constipated and bunged up, we cannot move forward with any heavy type of binding and detoxifying until we get the bowels moving well. So sometimes we need to spend a little extra time there. Every single protocol has 3 separate meal plans you can choose from. We have an omnivore plan, which incorporates animal products, still loads of veggies and healthy, whole foods. We have a SIBO and leaky gut based protocol for people who have really suffered for most of their life from IBS, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and leaky gut, lots of food sensitivities and those types of things. And then we have a fully vegetarian based plan. So every protocol has 3 different meal plans. If you are somebody that, like I'm an omnivore, I could easily pick and choose from any of those plans to help to build out my days. We also give you strategies on how to move through these plans. I am never expecting someone to make new recipes every day of the week, always and always. We'll give you tips like, how about you just choose 2 of these breakfasts to alternate with until this feels manageable? How about you choose 2 lunches, 2 dinners? And so we'll give you some different strategies if you're just like, OMG, this feels too much. If it ever feels too much, it probably means you're trying to move too fast, and we will slow you down. We literally will become honey and stick ourselves on you and drag you back down into the slow lane, because true healing happens in micro moments. It happens by moving millimeters forward at a time, not feet and yards at a time. Okay. In your movement program. So when it comes to exercise, I have an entire Pilates program that is video based for you that you receive. I have an entire lower body strengthening program that you get, an entire upper body and core strengthening program, all 3 of my books. And then I've created a calendar for the women in the Hormone Project that combines all of these exercise programs together so that you could alternate between strength training, yoga, Pilates, stretching, upper body, lower body, walking, all of those different things. You get all of that. And when you click on these links, it will take you directly into all of your playlist that you could do off of your phone, off of your computer. It's all accessible for you. This is how you actually set up a Practice Better account. So what I love that's so beautiful about this is that You can access your account. I can access your account. Our other practitioners can access the account. So we actually have clinicians meetings and we will overlook the blood work, the Dutch. So if Laura's having an appointment with one of our women, her and I will get together and I'll be like, okay, these are the areas that you really need to focus on. And I'll bring her up to speed on what's happening. So instead of when you go to multiple practitioners and you feel like you have to tell your story over and over again, we are eliminating that part of this for you, okay? All your tests get uploaded into here, all of our notes, all of the specificity. There's an internal texting mechanism into this as well too, where this is how you and I would communicate, not through email. We would do it in Practice Better. It stores our entire chat history. So if there was something that I told you that I asked you to do or something you asked me, we can go back in time and we can actually see it there. It's beautiful. It's brilliant. I'm like, where was this all the years ago? I've been keeping paper files for 22 years. Do you know how many paper files I have? A lot. These are all of your class modules. So I break it down into understanding the sections. So your first protocol out of the digestive reset is moving into the liver. We again give you checklist so that you can print off the checklist and be like, okay, this is the first thing I need to do. Check, I've done that. I need to read this piece of information from Jen. I've done that. I have to watch this video. I've done that. So it gives, if you were going to print anything off in this, you would print off your checklist so that you have this really beautiful systematic approach to feeling like you are, you're staying on the path, right? You're staying on the path. And sometimes what that means is there can be a few weeks, sometimes a month or more between this thing on the checklist getting done and this thing getting done, because we have to honor where your system is at. Then you have your videos here. I take you through so you understand cycle syncing and fertility awareness for whether you're menstruating or you're not. So I introduce you to the moon cycle as well too. And again, everything is video based, okay? All of it. Okay, so kickoff class, introduction to your protocol, the cycle syncing, your gut, liver, and gallbladder connection. We move through it all. Then we start to go into the second section, which is all about your adrenals. This is about your adrenals. This is about your thyroid. This is moving into hormones 101. So we start off with you understanding what your adrenal glands are, their responsibility, where they are in your body, and some of the things to start to consider. Then hormones 101. How does everything relate? How does your estrogen and your testosterone and your DHEA, your progesterone, your insulin, your cortisol, like how does everything relate? How are they all impacting one another? Then talking about your brain, adrenal, thyroid, ovary connection. When women say my adrenals are fried, typically not true. The adrenals are probably still doing an okay job of production. It's the connection in your HPA axis. We talk perimenopause and menopause. I take you through the entire Dutch test before we even go 3 years. And it's my test that I use inside this class module and break it down section by section so you understand. I teach you all about the connection between your cortisol, insulin, sugar, stress, and your hunger hormones. So this is a really big one for women who are suffering from unstable blood sugar, crazy cravings, and really can't sleep, especially for those who are waking up between 1 and 4 every single night. This is a big one. Then after we've gone through the digestive reset, liver, adrenal, and thyroid care, we bring it back to the gut. Where are the things that we need to do to really help to seal this up and to create that next level healing for you? And so again, you get checklists and all of these. We go into your body care products, your household cleaning. I take you through an entire tour of my home. And we talk everything from what you're using in the shower and in the bathroom to what you're, washing your linens with, you're in the kitchen with me, all of the things. I talk about exercise and movement and the art of simplicity. How do you pull this all together? Okay. Then these are all your masterclass teachers. Dr. Carrie Jones, who's the medical director of the Dutch lab. Jill Miller, the creator of the Gorgeous Balls, Yoga Tune-Up Balls. Dr. Megan Walker, a naturopath who works with high-level, high-functioning female entrepreneurs and mamas. Josh Gatalis. Josh is a good friend of mine and so brilliant. And we talk about the gut. We go into a deep dive here. Adele Tevlin, who's a cognitive behavior therapist, studies out of Harvard University and literally understands, like nobody else I've ever met before, the connection to why we choose the things that we choose. My girlfriend Sam Gladish from Holistic Wellness Foodie talking about amazing essential oils to use for our body, for our hormones. Dr. Michelle Paris, the connection piece that is so important for community and with women and in our families that helps to support us. Dr. Andrea Maxim, and Andrea is talking about that connection between your gut, your adrenals, your thyroid, your liver, how we need to pull it all together. And then my personal energy healing coach, Melanie Hustis. So we have this all pulled together in a master library for you. Your links of how you book your consultations as well too. FAQ is on here, how you get into the Facebook group. You also can set up a full script account for your supplements. You save 10% and it gets drop shipped to your home. And they carry all the professional brands, majority of the brands you're buying at the health food store. It all goes into one cart and it all gets shipped to your home and you get a discount on that. And then extra things like connection to the YouTube channel, Juice Plus, those kinds of things. I'm going to stop share here, come back into the group. Okay, love the clarity and the systematic layout. Yes, and this is really what we're trying to do to make this more manageable for you, is to have it in that way so that you literally can go back in and look and be like I said, okay, click, check, and run through it. And here's the thing. When you know that there's no expiry on you having the information, you can take the pressure off yourself that it has to happen tomorrow. Here's the thing, ladies, we don't know what is going to happen, especially at this time in our life right now, in order to be able to try to plan perfectly. But here's what I can tell you. There has never been a more important time in your life to up level your care for yourself. There has never been a more important time. I think that you can all agree, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I know the women I'm talking to right now, the ones I'm engaging with on my social feed, the ones I'm engaging with in real life will tell me they have never had more responsibility in their life, never felt pulled in more directions, and they are the one that is holding the family together. They're the ones that are making the big decisions, and they're the ones that are going to continue to have to make the big decisions about how they are healing the health of themselves and their family. And this is the thing, is we can only be as good to the rest of our family, to our partners, our children, to our jobs, whatever it is that we're trying to show up in, if we feel well. If your body is suffering, if you are not feeling well, you don't, like, here we are, we're at this time of year where what are most people saying right now? I'm just going to wait to the new year. I'm going to get through Christmas. I'm just going to wait to the new year. That's like 6 more weeks. How many of you can keep feeling this way for 6 more weeks? You don't have to start anything right now other than initiating that commitment to yourself. So I was talking to a lady the other day and she said to me, well, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to sign up in January. And I said, okay, why do you want to sign up in January? Well, because I don't feel like I can start over the holidays. I'm going to be eating different things. And I was like, but then why don't we do your consult now? Let's do your consultation. Let me understand and know who you are and what you're going through. Let's get the Dutch test sent to you. Let's start to get things underway. So when January hits, you're already on the runway towards that healing, as opposed to waiting for January, then booking the consult, then having to do your test, then maybe trying to get blood work done. Because what happens is now you're waiting into February to start to feel like you can kind of build and get that momentum underneath you. And the other thing, one of you are asking here, so if you don't have Facebook, it's totally fine. You don't have to be in the Facebook group. But I will tell you, we have a huge percentage of women that actually open up a fake Facebook account that they only use because we're a secret group. Nobody's in that group that's not in our program. So you could open up fake account, no photo, anything, and you only get added into our secret Facebook group. So nobody else could find you on there. The other thing is you also don't have to use the Facebook group. It's totally up to you. Yes, if you're in the UK, you absolutely can. And the Dutch get sent there. We work with women all over the world, all over the world. Our current group right now in alumni, we have women in 13 different countries all over the world. So the Dutch test can get shipped to you. There is a $30 fee that you pay if you are out of North America for the lab to ship it there. but that's it. It's $30. It's a very, very small fee for that. Um, so no, I do not. Yeah. So I don't take an unlimited amount of people. There's an application process for it for a reason, right? Again, it's like, it has to be a good fit for you. It has to make sense on my end as well too. So I personally read all the applications that come into our team, and then I forward them on to Vanessa, who's the director of the program. And so right now in 2020, I personally have 6 spots left to work with me for the rest of this year. And then I will not be working with adding on any more new women until January, because I'm going to take a couple of weeks off over the holidays. This is how you get into my private practice. So I have people reach out all the time and ask, I don't know if I want to do the whole program. And when they say that, I'm like, I don't think they understand what it is. I don't necessarily want to do the full program. I just want to do the test. I don't offer just testing, because the testing is no different than just giving you a meal plan. You're going to need to have a protocol based on the testing. You're going to need to have a solid understanding. So once women come into the Hormone Project, that's how they become part of my private practice. So when the Hormone Project is done, you can be booking follow-ups with me, you can do continued work with me, but that's the only way that I take women on into my practice now. Laura Anderson, who is our head health coach in the Hormone Project, she takes women on one-to-one outside of the Hormone Project. But for me personally, the only way I work with women in that capacity is by doing the Hormone Project. And it's just, for me, it's like the things I want to teach the woman and work with her on. And because I get a lot of complicated cases, there's no way that I can just do a one-off session with you and create any level of groundwork. I'm a holistic health mentor and don't feel healthy enough to guide others right now. How sad is that? I want knowledgeable support, but have to consider cost as well, and not having heavy pressure so I can go at my own pace. I feel that you're sensitive to unique individuals' needs. Yeah, I don't set the pace for you. I only set the pace for people who literally will say to me, okay, how otherwise, like, you can move through this at your own pace, honestly. And like I said, you move into the alumni. You don't just finish the program and then we're like, it was great knowing you. See you later. It's not how we flow over here for that. And I understand, Amy, what you're saying. I have reached out from practitioners all the time who are like, where did you go to school for this? And I'm like, it's been 24 years. There was no one program I took to learn the things that I am now teaching. And that is the sad reality right now, is there isn't, well, I shouldn't say there isn't. There is. It's called the Hormone Project. And like I said, I'm working behind the scenes right now with a couple of educational institutions in order to bring this to practitioners in a different capacity. Because when I came out of school and I was a registered holistic nutritionist, even coming out of being an FDN, I was like, there still are things that we're not being taught. And yet someone's going to come to you as a health practitioner and assume you know everything and want all the answers. And if you are just starting out, or this is what you do for a career, it can feel very overwhelming and oftentimes embarrassing if you're like, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know that. And we can't know everything, but there's an opportunity. And I have nurses and doctors and health practitioners come into this program. We two or three rounds ago, we had a doctor, an endocrinologist from Prince Rupert, BC, and 3 of her nurses come into the program as a group together, because they, in their own words, said they were so fed up and frustrated with the lack of education and information they were being provided as a primary doctor and as nurses. And they were sick and tired of seeing women in their community come in struggling and feeling like the only approach they could give them was either the pill, a cervical ablation, an IUD, or talking about doing a partial or a radical hysterectomy. And then when used to be able to host Ignite Your Life in person, they flew in and came to Ignite Your Life last year. I was like, you ladies are the bomb. Like, this is what I'm talking about. This is the roar that I am telling you lives in us, that I am trying to evoke and to wake up in women. Okay, your body is so amazing. And I know on the days when you're struggling and you feel like you have more symptoms than you can count, and things aren't feeling well, that you feel like there's no option, and that this is just, the way you're meant to feel. I'm telling you, it's not true. I'm telling you, there are solutions. I promise you, there are things out there that you probably have not entertained, or maybe you just need to hear it in a different way. Have you ever gone to the same class or had the same experience, but when somebody else is teaching, like for instance, I'll use yoga for example, right? Or a class in general. You can go to the vinyasa class or the hatha class. The class description is the same, the schedule is the same, the time slot is the same, but the instructor is who makes the class. You can go and have a different instructor one time, and it can be a completely different experience, even though you've been showing up to that same class for 5 years. Someone subs it, all of a sudden someone explains it in a different way, and you're like, holy cow, I just had this huge aha moment. Is there a start date? The start date is when you onboard. So I personally only take on about 12, max 15, and I haven't been doing that the last couple of months, women per month to work with me personally. You start when you have your first consult with me. In fact, even before we do your first consult, we will send you everything so that you can get started on the digestive reset, so that you have time to actually look onto the membership site, the portal, all of that. We walk you through it all. Hitting 50 is a whole new ball game. I appreciate the insight and assistance. I feel inundated with supplement solutions and have become a supplement junkie. I feel you. While trying to be plant-based, yet I am still gaining weight and in pain and frustrated. Yeah, Amy. And here's the other thing too, is that, sometimes the thing we think is going to be the healthiest for us, can oftentimes be one of those bottlenecks. And sometimes, depending on the way that we're approaching plant-based, and I was vegetarian for many years, I was vegan, I was raw vegan, I've been all of the things. And I see a big correlation in that sometimes, and joint pain, inflammation, systemic inflammation in the body. And there's different things, again, we can be testing and looking at to understand what's really going on. And when we are aging as women and our hormones are decreasing, when we have the significant drop in estradiol, in estrogen, and in progesterone, this decreases our body's ability to be able to manage pain and inflammation. And so it's understanding what are the things that we need to do in order to support that. Does everyone work with me personally? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Will I be talking about cost? Well, you can see the cost on the website when you go in, but this is a $3,000 program. It includes all of your functional testing. It is not an inexpensive, actually, I shouldn't even say that, because I'm told all the time it's actually not high enough. And this is the thing, is if you look at a lot of other people who are offering these programs, I haven't done a price increase in quite some time, but this is a $3,000 program, and you can pay for it monthly. You can do it in installments and break it down. But this is why I say this is not for everyone. You've got to really be in that position where, because I do work with you one-on-one, and I won't give up on you. That's the other thing, is I'm going to dig as deep as you want to go, and I will not give up on you. And I will, ultimately I can't, but I'll try for you to not give up on yourself as well. So yeah, you can pay in full. I don't gouge people who want to pay monthly. I don't say, oh, if you want to pay monthly, I'm going to charge you more. I don't believe in doing that. I think that's shisty. And I don't create that scarcity thing where it's like, I don't lie and be like, oh, we only have this many left and we have this many. Legitimately, I have 6 spots left for the rest of the year to be working with women. The only reason I am doing this webinar tonight, you'll notice I haven't even posted this. This is how non-salesy I am. I have not even posted the link for you to go and sign up on that sidebar. And Noelle, had you not asked me that question, I probably wouldn't even have thought of that. I'm on here tonight doing this webinar because I want you to understand what it is. I want you to understand this is an educational program. I want you to understand what exists and what's out there and the possibilities that lie there. So, any other questions? I'll stay on for another couple of minutes if there's anything else that I didn't answer in there. Yeah, I can post it there if you would like that. It's also, honestly, if you just go onto my website, it's going to prompt you to fill out the application, which again, I will review. If you wanted to in your application as well, let me just see here. There's the link. It's just www.jenpike.com/the hormone project. If you wanted to, even in your application, just let me know that you were on the webinar as well too. Do I do discounts for this? I do not. I never offer this at a discounted rate. I don't. This is what it is. The value you get in this, I do not do any deals or promotions on the Hormone Project. There is a ton of time that goes in behind the scenes on this, in terms of supporting these women. And it's even holding the energy as well too. for it. And yeah. Oh, you're so welcome, Joan. You're so welcome. Any other specific questions? This is going to be recorded. You will get the replay from it. These weekly calls, is that for alumni? No, it's only for the 4-month program. Alumni, we do a monthly call in there, like any additional kind of Q&A. Most of our alumni stay on and we'll do some continuing follow-up calls as well. But the alumni, we don't charge. Like alumni, when you go into the alumni, that's just a free group that we put women into. So we don't do weekly calls in there because we're not charging any fee for that. You are so welcome, Tanya. Oh, I'm happy, Anishka. I'm also hoping that I am pronouncing that right. Yeah, don't give up on that. You know, perspective is that there is a completely different approach to our health and our well-being as women. No other questions, ladies? Credible source of support and wellness. Oh, awesome. Thank you. It is very comprehensive. And I'm always reiterating it, which means like iterations of it. Like I changed this dramatically in August. And every single time it's like every now and again, like I add in new things. That you can't fail. You cannot fail, Susan. Like it's literally impossible to fail doing this. We just simply won't let you. Right? Q&A inside here. So many questions, but have requested an application. Awesome. Oh, great, Tanya. That's great. I look forward to reviewing that and maybe chatting with you. That's the other thing as well, too, is if you fill out the application and we approve it and you get accepted in that, and then you have additional questions, Vanessa can always hop on the phone to answer them for you as well, too. You are welcome, ladies. Sorry, I'm just reading one of the questions inside here. No. Okay, so that's a great question. So someone just actually posted in the Q&A box, if you need to have the blood work done before you come into the program, you don't. You don't. And so again, it's one of those things where if you have it, that's fantastic. And I would say if you have previous blood work, right? So if you have blood work at this point, like we're coming into 2021. So I would say anything from like the last 2 years would be fantastic in order to upload into Practice Better for me to review. If it's a really deep, juicy case, there might even be some other things that I ask for you to go back at and to forward and send to us. But it's amazing. And again, what we'll do is like pull it all up and be like, okay, do you see here in 2017 how this was going on? And then in 2008, right? And look at it. And it's important because it's cool when I get it and I see it, but what's even more amazing is when you get it and you can see it. When that starts to happen for you, it's going to light a flame in you and you're going to be like, and you're going to be so empowered because you're going to start to understand the ranges. We teach you the ranges that are healthy. So when you get further blood work, when you get further testing done, your eye is going to be trained to start to look at it and be like, okay, this is within a good range and not so good range. And you're going to start to know the questions that you need to ask for next level care and help. If you're not accepted into the program, do you get a rationale? So if you're not accepted into the program, what we do is I actually would refer you on. So some of the reasons, Jody, that I might not take somebody in, I mean, there can be a few different reasons, but I may refer you on to work with our naturopath instead. I may refer you to work with our team registered holistic nutritionist. I might recommend that you start with Synced as opposed to the Hormone Project. I might refer you to a functional medicine practitioner colleague of mine. If it's a woman who, she tells me that she's been on bioidenticals for a long time, she also is on different medications. There could be different things going on, but I will never just like, if it was ever you didn't hear from us, always respond back because we never don't respond. We would always send a woman in the direction of a colleague that I trust if I felt like it wasn't the right fit for my particular program. Does the 4 months start after blood work in Dutch? No. So the 4 months would start once we actually deliver you the program and you start to come into the group coaching calls. So once you're actively participating, we're doing your consults and all of that. So from the day that we enter you into the Facebook group and you're entered into the group coaching calls and you're starting to use the information and to join us, that's when your 4 months would begin. And that's okay. Don't apologize. Yeah. Yeah. And Vanessa can hop on the phone with you and answer some of those questions as well, too. Okay, ladies. Well, thank you for joining me tonight. I hope that answered some of your questions. And if you have any others, when you get the replay of this, feel free to respond via email and to let me know. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your night. Take care.